So
You know what would be sick? If as time went on, like, and maybe you're already working on this, but like to be able to query the data, like as a AI, are you already working on something like that?
I have to show it. Yeah, I mean, part of it's already live.
Oh, okay, sweet. And
Yeah.
is it something that anyone can use, or is it only for users of the tool?
You have to be a Searchlight user, but yes, we've started. I mean, we could spend the whole podcast on this, but what we're live with right now is you can use the data to filter and say, show me Google Ads last month or in February compared to January, right? And you build your story with the filters, and then we have a button now that says Analyze with Searchlight AI, and it basically takes a data dashboard and it puts it in written format.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Plumbing and HVAC Hustle Podcast, not HVAC Hustle Podcast. Comment below if you disagree. And I've got Kevin Lesage from Searchlight Digital on. How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. You are the man when it comes to tracking KPIs. Searchlight Digital is the platform for third-party validation of your marketing ROI. And so if you haven't heard of them yet, check it out. Just take a peek. You owe it to yourself to look at their dashboards and see how this might allow you to kind of step out of that shroud that sometimes gets placed over the eyes of home service businesses in regards to their metrics and into a place of clarity. Kevin, what brought you to this solution? What is Searchlight Digital doing now with what you've learned?
No, thanks, Tim. So, yeah, I mean, what brought me here, right after, I spent my first 13 years in a digital marketing agency in automotive, where car dealers are addicted to leads just like contractors, right? They run their business on it. And that company, I ended up running the analytics with them for a while and built the biggest analytics product across the automotive industry, and the company had a fantastic exit. But my dad's been a plumber my entire life. Right, like when I would go to Little League, my brothers and I would fight over who would sit in the PVC bucket in the back of the truck. And when that business had that exit, I told my dad I wanted to buy his business and I wanted to blow up Lesage Plumbing. Right, it's just him and my brother in Connecticut, and they don't even know what a CRM is. Right, my dad's about to retire, and his motto is nothing new after two. But when I was you know that kind of guy, right?
I like that vibe personally.
Ripped jeans. He may or may not have a logo on his shirt. That was a big step for him when we got him those T-shirts. But anyway, when I was telling him about what marketing can do for his business and what my vision was if I were to buy in, he had one comment that started Searchlight, and I think it's the way most of our our partners think today, which is, he said, Kev, everything you do online is bullshit until you can prove to me it makes money. Right? And I was like, well, Dad, there's impression shares, and we can look at cost per click, and there's leads and all this. And he goes, this is where you lose me, dude. He's a very simple guy, black and white, old school plumber. He's like, if I give you 10 grand, I'm confused why you can't tell me how much that 10 grand earned my business. You can only tell me how many leads I got or clicks to a website. And I'm like, well, Dad, all the research is happening online, and you do the sale in the home. And I tried to explain it, and he's like, see, Kevin, this is why it's not going to work. And my dad and my brother still run around Connecticut in their trucks, and they do their own thing, right? And I have no investment in the business at all. But that comment sparked me getting invested and starting to understand home services a little more. And as a background as an agency, that's where we started, right? Running ads. And we grew to 50 accounts across the US, and eventually account canceled because their CRM said Searchlight was not driving revenue. And I was like, well, what are you looking at to make this decision, right? And he gave me a username and a password into his CRM, and immediately I was finding customers that clicked our ad, they called the business, and I know they sent a tech out because I listened to the call, right? And they're like, yeah, we'll be there on Wednesday. Well, I would log into the CRM on Thursday, and I'd see that customer, but the campaign source never said paid ads, and never said Searchlight, and we were losing credit for the revenue we were bringing. So luckily, with my background in automotive, having a lot of software engineer friends that have built analytics products, I called the right crew, and a team of 4 started a few years back to start Searchlight And we launched our product a little over 2 years ago, and now we have over like 900 active accounts using our platform to better understand marketing performance.
You know, if I didn't run this company, I'd want to run that company. And I know there's always challenges, but you guys have such a cool product. I'm so proud of you.
Appreciate that.
You built something excellent, and it's undeniably excellent to everyone that looks at it and sees what it is. So I want to say that first and foremost. Proud of you.
No, thanks, man. Yeah, we have no outside investment, right? So Searchlight listens to our customers, and we iterate and we build fast. So we built a custom dashboard for contractors to better understand what marketing investments drive actual revenue, not just clicks to a website or leads. Now we can accurately tell you if you're making money or not, right?
Absolutely. And if we ever rolled up with anyone in this industry, I would want it to be you.
Well, Tim, you're doing a great job too, as I was telling you beforehand, man.
Give me that software multiple and then just throw another 5 million on your revenue. You know what I mean?
Hey, we were an agency, I'll be honest. Like, I've done it for 15 years and I got a lot of respect for marketing agencies. It was an easy decision to shift to an analytics.
Well, it's a great product, man. It's super proud of you. What benchmarks? Actually, let's start with this. What are the most critical KPIs home service businesses should track to measure marketing success?
Yeah, just to hit it like quick for people listening, right? The first one, I want to know the revenue that I'm closing, right? I want the revenue coming in from my marketing investment. Foundational. My next one, booking rate. And what I mean by that is a raw booking rate where there's no lead qualifiers. Because I want to know what marketing channels are driving the highest booking rate source of leads, right? Because a simple philosophy here, if I get 100 leads and only 5 book, we know we have a problem. But if I get 5 leads and all 5 book, that's a high quality lead source, right? So booking rate is extremely important to be measuring. And one that we also add to that list is paying customer rate. So it's great the lead comes in, calls, and they book, but did they actually make it all the way through the funnel and buy your service? Right? And now I can use paying customer rate by campaign to understand what campaigns are driving the highest source of leads that actually buy my service, not just book or get an estimate, right? The big one after that, my 2 favorite ones are customer acquisition cost and average ticket, right? Without getting too complicated, those 5, the revenue closed, booking rate, paying customer rate, customer acquisition cost, and average ticket. You give me those 5 KPIs, I can tell you everything about your marketing business, your marketing performance.
So Rilla allows you to listen to it's an AI in your pocket, listens to the appointment. It's pretty crazy what it can do. It gives a script, gives everything they said, it breaks down some statistics for you.
Analyze talk ratio, interactivity, like how you and I are interacting back and forth, longest modeling, like all those things.
Honestly, this is the shit that I most believe in AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Enhancing the
You're
user
about to put
experience.
math and data around something that used to be my magic skill.
I love that. And I always push people to like look at basically close rate by lead source. Like obviously these things you can kind of dissect them and what they are, and like number of closed deals or closed deal revenue per lead source. Because I think sometimes people get so addicted to lead quantity that they don't look enough at lead quality. And that is the hardest. That's something that's hard for people to kind of shake out of if they've been addicted to, like, let's say, buying leads or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the first things I always put in any presentation I give, right? It's that what I was just saying. If you get 100 leads and only 5 book, that's not that's no quality there. And not only do you not get quality leads, but you're wasting your team's effort managing those leads, and it's just demoralizing for a CSR always dealing with poor quality leads. Right? So there's just wins all around when you have high quality leads coming in.
Love that. What benchmarks should home service businesses use to determine if their marketing investment is delivering a strong ROI?
Yeah, so benchmarks for us, it's something, well, I mean, we could talk about KPIs and benchmarks. I could go down rabbit holes for the average this, average that, right? But benchmarks historically for us, like even with 900 active accounts, we struggle with, because I want to do benchmarks by revenue size, regionality, by business units. Are you HVAC, plumbing, electrical, right? So one of the things we're doing now at Searchlight before releasing, we're working very hard on getting like a benchmarking product live. because we've had so much demand and engagement around that blog that you've probably seen or you were mentioning earlier, right? With that blog, we have a lot of agencies that use that for their benchmarking. We have a lot of like large groups that are using that to say, hey, Searchlight's rolling up 900 accounts and all of this unique data. What was their customer acquisition cost for paid ads in Q1, and what was ours, right? So
You know what would be sick? If as time went on, like, and maybe you're already working on this, but like to be able to query the data, like as a AI, are you already working on something like that?
I have to show it. Yeah, I mean, part of it's already live.
Oh, okay, sweet. And is it something that anyone can use, or is it only for users of the tool?
You have to be a Searchlight user, but yes, we've started. I mean, we could spend the whole podcast on this, but what we're live with right now is you can use the data to filter and say, show me Google Ads last month or in February compared to January, right? And you build your story with the filters, and then we have a button now that says Analyze with Searchlight AI, and it basically takes a data dashboard and it puts it in written format.
That's
Right?
so cool.
So it gives you like actionable insights and like something you can just read, or if you're an agency, you can copy paste and send it to your clients. If you're a GM of a contracting business, it's literally like the report right up the chain, right? It just gives you all the insights you're looking for.
That's so cool. Or if somebody had like a very specific question, you could be like, all right, let me just, which is so beautiful. Like the AIs that are like the way I've been using AI to better be effective is like giving it the tight data, right? I can put my whole P&L in there and ask it questions now. It's cool to be like when we get all this data, especially first. Can you do it per like industry or like anything like that yet?
Oh yeah, I mean we have.
Oh my God.
Yeah, when you think about the integrations across 10 different CRMs and all these different ad channels, direct mail companies, like we have. I should have gotten a number before the podcast to see like how much, but yeah.
A lot of data.
A lot of data.
That's so cool. Yeah. To me, the tightest, it's useful for people per like in their company, but it's also good for like when you can look at your whole industry and be like, all right, what's the cost per lead for this month, compared to last year's cost per lead. And it helps you not gaslight yourself. To like your guys' reports help people not freak out if things aren't perfect, because one thing we know for sure in digital marketing when you're spending money is that things aren't going to be perfect. There's going to be stuff going on, and it's just parsing out whether it's the industry, it's the seasonality, or if it's us and we are not that good with our marketing right now. So it's kind of like to be able to parse those things out is invaluable, and you're doing the industries you serve an extreme service.
Well, thank you, first off. But, if you think about AI is only as strong as the data you give it, right? But Searchlight having those direct integrations without human input, it's like putting AI, it's like giving AI call tracking, your forms, your customers, your revenue, your Google Ads, Bing, LSA, Facebook, giving all of it combined, right? And getting all of that unique value out of it. And we're going to keep building on this where it'll turn into like agentic AI where you can start asking it questions, and it's basically a business analyst that knows all of your data. You know what I mean? And it's going to turn into a beast.
And it's going to be a lot of, it depends, but based on that, just humor me for a second. If you had to say anecdotally one of the best lead sources or a couple of the best lead sources for home service businesses, what are you convinced are 2 or 3 of the top ones right now based on what's that?
Google Business Profile should be your number one revenue source, right? When I don't see that performing well, it's an immediate red flag for me.
Yeah. Awesome. We're really doubled down on that. We have our RankMap.ai service that's all about optimizing Google Business Profile manually, but then also with AI to post and images and Google Business Profile posts, basically treating it like it's a social media platform and posting daily.
Questions and answers, photos. Yeah, I mean, that stuff is, I think the value is untapped there with what that does.
Oh, yeah.
Google wants to see you engaging with their products, and if you do it, they'll reward you.
Yes. Many businesses struggle with data overload. And I'm sure some people are listening to this right now like, oh, I'll never be able to, this is so much. But what's your advice for simplifying KPI tracking without missing key insights?
Yeah, so this goes back to just the way I was raised. Like, my dad's a plumber my whole life. I'm not a data analyst. Like, I didn't go to school for data. I don't know how to use Excel, right? When I talk to customers about performance, and the reason they love Searchlight is it just cuts right to the chase. And all I'm looking at is, are we making money or losing money? Like, let's start there, right? Like, before we get all technical and talk about lifetime value and all these confusing KPIs, like, what did we spend? What did we earn? Where's the drop off? Right? And if we just focus there, like when I pull up an account, I don't want to see customer acquisition cost at $1,200 and average ticket at $800. You know, like, you laugh, but that shit happens every day. And these companies are confused still. You know, they're like, well, where do I start? It's like, well, let's start on pulling back the campaigns where we're losing money. Right? Like, if we're not making money, then we need to either like give it 30 days to fix it or pull the plug. And this just makes that so easy. And I don't care how good your marketing team is, or like, I've been doing this 15 years. Every client we look at, you know, they're running all these different campaigns, Google, Bing, Facebook. They're not all winners, dude. They're never all winners, right? And like, I don't care how good it is. So it's like, when I go in there and I'm like, well, what's this one that you were running on, like drain cleaning, and you dropped 20 grand on last month, and so far you've made $2,000. Like, this isn't rocket science, is my point, right? Like, let's just start with where we're making money and where we're not. And I've been saying this term for years, but it's invest where you see success, right? If I have a campaign that I'm spending $5 grand on, and it has earned me $100,000 in closed revenue, I am going to keep spending more on that campaign, right? So, like, without overcomplicating this, let's figure out what's working and what's not, and just reallocate to where we're seeing the success. And that's like the simplest way I can put it, without, you know, putting a data analyst on the phone and all, you know, saying every buzzword and everything you can think of. Let's just start with if we're making money or not.
Drive me a little deeper into that. You know, like, obviously in our case, we have super diligent PPC specialists kind of chopping non-performing campaigns.
Yeah.
How does this help for like a home service business? Maybe they have an agency, and maybe that agency is diligent, but they want to take a little bit more ownership. Maybe if, for instance, one of our customers that does have somebody kind of diligently chopping shit that's not working and pushing into stuff that is, what else can they do? That are they getting this for?
Yeah, but here's the thing, man, and I've been in this seat for a long time, is you might have the best analyst chopping all the shit, but you're using the data that is given to you in Google Analytics and Google AdWords, which is click-through rate, cost per click, impression share, and you're never going to get closed revenue and PII in Google Analytics, right? Personal identifiable information. So your guys over there like, oh, this account, the cost per click's too expensive, and you might cut that. But the reality is, downstream, that campaign has an average ticket of 20 grand and a 10x ROAS, right? It's like, you're using the tools that you have available to make the best decisions, and I'm telling you, they're the wrong tools. I have onboarded agencies. My favorite one is this huge, large agency, and they onboarded and they said, Kev, you just changed our business. We've always optimized to low cost per click keywords and high click-through rate. That's like standard. Anyone in digital marketing, we want a lot of clicks and we want them to be cheap. But your data showed that the booking rates downstream were 20%. We were getting a lot of low volume, low quality leads. And then on top of that, very few were going all the way through and buying, so we weren't actually making a lot of money. And on the flip side, these other campaigns that were really expensive for every click and we don't see a lot of click-through rate, actually were generating a ton of revenue, and they were really high quality leads. The booking rate was 65-80%, right? So it's like, that's and I say experience, but like, that's the kind of impact revenue attribution can bring to an agency. It can flip the whole optimization model.
It's beautiful. For businesses that rely heavily on local SEO and Google Ads, what are some specific KPIs that indicate they're dominating the market or falling behind? Like, I know we just talked about some, but are there any other like KPI? And maybe this is okay that we're diving a little bit more into nerd stuff for a second.
Yeah. And this is cool because in this case, like with my marketing experience, if a client asked me this, I'd be like, well, let's go look at the search demand trend reports, right? Let's look at your impression share, so I can figure out how much of the opportunity you're actually getting, right? On top of that, with Searchlight, we have unique data sets where we can look at revenue by zip code. So we can see where you're actually getting all of the revenue around your service area, but we can overlay channels and campaigns to that. Right? So now I could say, show me where how dominant I am in Google Ads in my service area, and you might turn that on and find that in your northeast region of your service area, Google Ads isn't as effective as you thought it was. And to tie into your last question, maybe you're getting all these clicks and leads, but you're not getting revenue. Right? So when I'm looking at how well you're dominating the market, revenue by zip code, I'm looking at heat maps. And then again, some of that more digital stuff like impression share, what's my search demand trend report look like, what's the opportunity there in the first place, right?
And I think bringing it back to contractor mindset, ROI, money, 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 it's respect. It's okay. I believe in that mode to marketing as well. What are some other things affecting whether it becomes money besides things like an outside partner, like an agency can do? So what are things that are like, when you see this, you're like, maybe it's not the agency's fault?
Many homes suffer from inefficient HVAC systems due to leaky ducts, leading to uneven room temps, lost airflow, and higher energy costs. AeroSeal's innovative sealant technology targets and repairs leaks, improving airflow and efficiency. Increase your customer satisfaction, increase sales, and offer a unique market advantage. Become a leader in HVAC efficiency. AeroSeal.com.
Oh yeah, so this is the biggest conversation across Searchlight data, right? Is it marketing's fault or operations' fault? Right? Are we getting leads in, or are we not managing them well enough? So just to hit it right off the head, right off the bat, one of the first things we're doing at Searchlight is we measure what's called revenue potential, which looks at all of the revenue in your CRM across open estimates, sold jobs, which are sold but not completed yet, and then completed. So as a marketing agency, I can say, hey, I brought in, including the unsold estimates, $300,000. Right? But you as a business owner are never going to sell 100% of your estimates. So out of that 300 I brought in, you only see 180 on your bottom line. That's closed and complete. Right? But I mean, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not getting commission for selling your clients open estimates for them, right? You're just getting the truck in the driveway, and then that's where your job ends once the quality lead comes in, right?
Couple of our clients, I would go out there and do my best.
I might even let you on the phone. Yeah, it'd be hilarious. But yeah, the funny thing is marketing gets blamed all the time for poor revenue performance. But we're not we can get you quality leads and get you an estimate, but we're not selling those estimates, right? Even if we get a booked job that's a quality customer in your service area and then they cancel, that's not the marketing's fault. They still clicked that quality ad and came in. So it's one of the biggest things we talk about is it's an accountability dashboard. If the marketing agency quality isn't there, you're going to know. But if you're driving quality leads and you're getting all these estimates, but they're not selling the estimates, and then they're going to blame the marketing for the business struggling, that's going to be very obvious as well. So it works both ways.
Yeah, and what's a close rate that you get a little red flaggy when the home service business is not closing stuff? And from your point, I guess it's a good question, because from your point of view, how do you distinguish between bad leads and bad sales structure / accountability?
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion that we could we're building tools around to make that obvious, right? And I forgot the first point you mentioned that I was gonna.
Essentially, that sometimes what's the percentage that's bad?
Yeah. So here's the stat that people will probably be surprised by, right? If you look at all of the unique leads grouped by a customer ID, so it's not conversions, it's unique leads. Say you get 100 of them. How many of those 100 do you think on average are going to go all the way through and buy your service?
God, the way you the way you said that, I'm going to guess something like 17.
So the average is 25%.
Okay.
So our average.
That's what I would have guessed before you gave that little note.
little leading.
Yeah.
Flip that. That means 75% of your unique leads never buy your service. And if you go around the industry today, everyone's still looking at cost per lead to define success. But 65% of unique leads never book, and 75% never buy. Right? So, like, knowing that, I need a different metric other than cost per lead to define success. And that's where we introduce booking rate and paying customer rate, because now I can see what percent of those leads are actually booking and buying, right? And then I can start optimizing my marketing off campaigns that have high booking rates, because I know I'm getting quality, right? And if I'm seeing marketing performing really well, so I've got all these unsold estimates, well, marketing's doing its job. That doesn't, whether or not you're selling them is a whole other different discussion, right?
It's really good. Appreciate you going down that rabbit hole with me for a second. It's certainly a very intriguing one. How does third-party validation, like what Searchlight Digital provides, help business owners separate real marketing wins from vanity metrics?
Well, the first thing I would say is, and you'll know this too, but it gives contractors control, because in Google Analytics you can set up anything as a conversion, right? A page load, a this, a that, and all of a sudden conversion's going up. In Searchlight, there's no faking the data. There's no, agencies don't get the chance to onboard and say, well, can you make this number a little different for us or anything like that. It's a standard. They all get pushed through the same path. Right? And a conversion for us is a phone call, a chat, a schedule, like a real book like opportunity, right? And there's no way around it. And the other thing is, for a contractor, you're gonna eventually move from different agencies. You're gonna try new chat tools. Like Searchlight is an analytics product for a retail price of $4.99 that you own. You can take with you to the next agency. You can plug in the next chat tool, and you're not like starting all over again, right? So right off the bat, contractors will have, in some cases, more data than their agency has around performance, right? Like, even as an agency, you don't know what revenue you're bringing in unless you have some sort of revenue attribution partner, right? It's just not available in Google Ads.
Absolutely. Kevin, what question should have I asked that I didn't ask to get the most out of this conversation for home service businesses?
No, just the vision, or why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah, Kevin, why are you doing what you're doing, and where is this all going? What is Searchlight's end game and full, what is it really headed towards?
Yeah, well, I mean, the reason for starting Searchlight started because of that whole family conversation, right? Family in the trades. I found out they were running ads with agencies that were being taken advantage of, right? And I asked to get on a phone call and realized that the agency didn't know left from right, and it pissed me off. You can rip off attorneys or whatever, don't rip off a contractor like my dad with his cold brown bag lunch. It's been for the last 40 years, you know what I mean? So this really started out of really wanting to just help. And I think, where we're going is that same trajectory, right? There's so much more to uncover around lead quality and uncovering more efficiencies for contractors to call out the BS and make more money. Because at the end of the day, that's where we want to help. And the agencies that partner with us believe in transparency, and they're not hiding from it, right? So they partner with us, they get better data, they can make smarter decisions. At the end of the day, everyone's winning. So just having been born in the trades, watching my dad work Saturdays and Sundays and getting dragged to the job site my whole life, I just have a lot of respect for the industry.
So and I'm in the same boat if this is true, but is your family currently not really being aggressive on marketing?
Oh, no.
Isn't that so funny? My family, I love them. I try to help them when I can, but I just couldn't be the one to do it for them either. You know, it's it's a tough thing when your family is not good at something that you know you could help them with, and you're like, I want to
The other
help.
thing is, my dad's just been a plumber for 40 years, so he's just got a great book of business. He's always going to be busy, no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
But when I'm with him and he gets a call that he doesn't recognize, he'll just be like, like ignore it, and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, I get like my hair stands up, But no, he's happy doing what he's doing, and that's the key.
Yeah, my family is doing well, even though, you know what I mean? And they love referrals and all that. And, the age old, we just live off of referrals. It's like, yes, but, Well, dude, thanks for being on. I'm so excited to have you talking with our team after this call about what's possible, and then also giving them some benchmarks for the industries we're serving. So I really appreciate you being I won't call you an official partner of Hook Agency, but
Not yet.
just say I'm open to that.
All right.
ASMR for you guys. Well, appreciate you being on. Thank you. Where can people go to check you out and to get started?
Searchlightdigital.io or Kevin at searchlightdigital.io, and we'll make sure you get taken care of.
And the podcast is put on by hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social media. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you get hooked up with these guys. Let them know who sent you if you do, and have a good one. Bye.